The wheat moved softly under the evening wind while Marta Levin stood near the narrow path between the fields, holding a basket against her waist. The village looked unchanged under the fading light: wooden fences, smoke rising from old chimneys, chickens crossing dusty ground. But something unsettled her when she noticed how quiet the road had become. "Elena will ask why supper is late," Tomas called behind her, pushing his bicycle through the grass. "She will ask why you disappeared again," Marta said. "I was near the river." "You were near the old mill." He smiled without guilt. "Anton said the forest trails are safe now." Marta turned sharply. "You promised not to speak with Anton." "He only talks. He talks about rifles. He talks about freedom." She stared at him until his smile faded. "You are 16, she said quietly. "Freedom sounds different when bullets arrive." Tomas lowered his eyes. Father was younger than that when he first carried a uniform. That uniform buried him. The answer struck harder than she intended. He gripped the bicycle handle and looked toward the village roofs. "I only asked," he murmured. They walked back together through the wheat. Evening bells from the church drifted across the fields. Marta could already smell boiled potatoes from nearby homes. At the well, old Mrs. Hannah filled a bucket with slow hands while two women folded cloth beside her. "Marta," Mrs. Hannah called, "did the school children finish their letters?" "They did." "And what did they write today?" One asked if winter reaches soldiers faster than villages. Mrs. Hannah sighed. Children ask questions adults fear. Inside the house, Elena Levin adjusted the oil lamp while steam gathered above a black cooking pot. Her face tightened when Tomas entered. "You vanished again." "He was with Marta," Tomas said quickly. Elena looked at Marta, knowing it was only half true. "Wash your hands," she said. They sat around the narrow table. Wooden spoons touched bowls softly. On the shelf above Marta's chair lay the old history book where her father's photograph remained hidden. She reached for bread, but Tomas spoke first. "Anton says the eastern roads are full of trucks." Elena froze. "Anton says too much. He hears things. He invites danger," Elena answered. Marta noticed her mother's fingers tremble around the spoon. "Nothing has happened here," Marta said carefully. Mrs. Hannah entered without knocking, carrying folded cloth. "Close the back window," the old woman said. Elena stood immediately. "Why?" "I heard engines." The room went silent. Tomas rose first and stepped toward the doorway. Marta followed him outside. Far beyond the hill, faint mechanical sounds rolled through the evening air. Trucks. Several of them. Dust lifted above the distant road like smoke. Tomas whispered, "That is military." Mrs. Hannah stood behind them. "Armies never pass once." No one answered. The engines grew louder, then slowly faded again toward the north. Elena crossed her arms tightly. "Maybe they are only moving through." Mrs. Hannah looked at her without comfort. "Soldiers always say they are moving through." The women from neighboring houses began gathering near the road. Someone carried sewing cloth. Someone else held letters tied with string. Nobody spoke loudly now. Near the fence, Sophia Marcu lifted her lantern. "Did anyone count them?" she asked. "Too far," Marta replied. "American markings," said an old farmer near the gate. "At least 6 trucks." Tomas leaned forward. "Then fighting is close." Elena caught his wrist hard enough to stop him. "Inside." "But." "Inside." The women entered the house again, but nobody returned to eating. Elena removed bowls untouched. Marta opened the old history book and looked briefly at her father's photograph, his face serious beneath a faded military cap. Tomas noticed it. "Would he tell us to run?" he asked. Marta closed the book slowly. "He would tell us not to panic." Mrs. Hannah remained by the window. "He would also sharpen every knife in the house," she muttered. That finally made Tomas smile, though weakly. Night settled heavily. Wind pressed softly against the shutters. From another house came low voices, then a baby crying. Elena folded blankets near the stove. "If trucks return tomorrow," she said, "nobody leaves the village road alone." Tomas sat near the lamp. "If soldiers come here, Do they choose where they stay? No, Marta answered. Do they choose which house first? She looked at him carefully. His voice carried no childish curiosity now. He asked again, softer. Can war choose one house and spare another? The lamp flame moved between them. Outside, a dog barked once, then stopped. Marta opened her mouth, but no answer came. Her silence told him more than words. The engines returned somewhere far beyond the dark hill, quieter this time, like something waiting for morning. Before sunrise, engines rolled back over the hill. Marta woke before Elena spoke. The sound was closer now, heavier, metal grinding against the village road. Tomas pushed aside his blanket. They came back, he whispered. Elena already stood near the window. Downstairs. Now. Outside, dogs barked wildly. A truck horn cut through the dawn air. Marta opened the door just enough to see armored vehicles entering between the houses, soldiers standing in the back with rifles ready. Cellar, Elena ordered Tomas. I can help. You can disappear. He hesitated. Marta, Elena said sharply. Marta grabbed his arm and led him through the kitchen trapdoor. You stay silent, she told him. If they ask for men? They will ask for everything. He looked frightened now. Will they search below? She pressed his shoulder. Do not move. When she climbed back up, boots already struck the road outside. A voice shouted in English, then another in rough local language. All families outside. Immediately. Elena covered her hair with a scarf. Keep your face calm, she whispered. The village square filled quickly. Women stood beside children, old men beside fences, everyone dragged into pale morning light. Captain Robert Hale stepped from the lead vehicle. His uniform looked untouched by dust, his gloves dark, his face hard as if sleep had never softened it. He spoke while another soldier translated. This village is now under military control. Every home will be inspected. Curfew begins at sunset. Anyone hiding weapons will answer publicly. No one moved. A child began crying near the well. Silence him, Hale said coldly. The mother covered the child's mouth with trembling fingers. Soldiers spread through the houses. Marta heard wood breaking almost immediately. A drawer shattered inside Mrs. Hannah's kitchen. Someone overturned chairs in Sofia Marcu's home. One soldier emerged holding a radio. Hale nodded once. Confiscate it. Another soldier tore open cloth sacks near the square. An old farmer protested. That grain is winter food. A rifle but struck his shoulder. He fell hard. Stand him up, Hale ordered. A young American soldier stepped forward, Daniel Reed. His hands paused before lifting the old man. Move, another soldier snapped. Daniel bent carefully, almost apologetically. The farmer groaned. I can stand. Daniel released him slowly. Marta noticed that hesitation. Hale noticed it too. Faster, soldier. Yes, sir. From one doorway came louder crying. A soldier had ripped apart a framed family photograph and thrown pieces into mud. The little girl screamed, That is my father. Her mother knelt to gather the wet paper. Hale looked once, without emotion. Continue. Elena kept her eyes lowered, but Marta saw her lips moving silently, counting, praying, or both. Then two soldiers entered Marta's house. She watched them through the doorway. One opened cupboards. Another kicked aside firewood. The trapdoor. Her chest tightened. A soldier stepped toward it. Then Daniel appeared behind him. This side first, Daniel said, pointing toward the bedroom. The soldier turned away. Marta exhaled only when they left carrying blankets and the small battery lamp. Hale walked slowly through the square. If any man leaves this village without permission, his family answers for it. Sophia lifted her head slightly. We have farmers, not soldiers. Hale stopped before her. Then farmers should fear less. They already fear enough. A soldier beside Hale raised his rifle slightly, but Hale only studied Sophia. What is your name? She answered without blinking. Sofia Marcu. He wrote it down. That frightened Marta more than shouting. By noon, white paint appeared on certain doors. 3 houses near the road, 1 near the church, 1 old barn. Mrs. Hannah whispered. Marked houses are remembered houses. What does that mean? Marta asked. It means someone decided they matter. When soldiers reached evening patrol, a shout rose near the northern fence. A rifle had been found buried behind a woodpile near the Carell family house. The father shouted, "It is not ours." Hale answered, "Every hidden weapon belongs to someone. We never touched it. Then someone trusted your soil." The family was dragged outside. Children clung to their mother. Hale gave one short order. A torch struck dry wood. Flames climbed the wall almost instantly. The mother screamed, "Please! Please, the children!" Soldiers forced them back while the roof caught fire. Marta stared as sparks crossed the darkening sky. Daniel stood near the truck, jaw tight, eyes fixed away from the burning house. He looked sick. The children cried until smoke swallowed the windows. No one dared move. At sunset, Hale spoke again. "Curfew begins now. Doors closed. Lamps low. No one walks after dark." Then the vehicles remained. That frightened everyone more. They were not passing through. Inside the house, Tomas finally climbed from the cellar, pale and sweating. "Did they leave?" "No," Marta said. He heard the burning outside and froze. Elena shut the shutters carefully. The orange fire reflected across the room. Tomas whispered, "Whose house?" "Carol's." "For one rifle?" Elena stood near the stove, her face lit by flame leaking through the cracks. Her voice dropped so low Marta almost missed it. "This is how fear begins, slowly then all at once." Outside, boots still crossed the road. And no one in the village touched sleep that night. Morning whistles came before sunrise. A soldier struck metal near the square while women gathered under cold gray light. Marta stood beside Elena, carrying 2 empty buckets. "Only women?" Elena asked quietly. "One woman from every house," the translator said. "Move." Tomas remained near the doorway until Elena gave him a warning look. "Inside," she said. "I can carry for you. You can survive by obeying." The line moved toward the trucks. Sophia Marcu walked ahead without lowering her head. Mrs. Hannah struggled beside younger women, muttering each step. At the edge of the village, wooden barracks appeared beyond a wire fence. Crates stood stacked under canvas. Armed guards waited near supply sheds. A soldier pointed. "Water there. Cleaning there. No talking." Marta and 3 others received brushes and cloth. Inside the first barracks, dust covered narrow beds. One woman whispered, "It smells like oil and smoke." A guard struck the wall with his rifle. "No talking." They worked in silence until another woman dropped a bucket. Water spread across the floorboards. Captain Robert Hale entered before anyone could react. His boots stopped beside the spilled water. "Who spoke?" he asked. No answer came. He looked at the frightened woman holding the bucket. "You." "I only dropped." He raised one hand. 2 soldiers dragged her outside. Marta followed with her eyes through the doorway. The woman cried, "Please, I have children." Hale spoke calmly. "Rules survive longer than excuses." A slap cracked through the yard. Then another. The women inside froze completely. Sophia leaned near Marta without looking at her. "Remember that sound?" she whispered. Marta kept scrubbing. "Why?" "Because fear repeats itself until someone interrupts it." A guard turned, and both lowered their heads. Later they carried water to another shed where ammunition crates filled half the room. Numbers marked every box. Daniel Reed stood near the doorway with another soldier. His rifle hung loose, unlike the others who held theirs tight. Marta lifted a crate corner with another woman. The photograph slipped from her apron pocket and fell beneath a bench. She did not stop. Stopping invited shouting. By noon her hands shook from lifting crates. Outside, Sophia received another sack. "You are Marta Levin," Sophia said quietly. "You know my name?" "Everyone knows whose father died wearing boots." Marta looked at her. "My husband died too," Sophia added. "Different boots." A whistle ended midday work. Bread was thrown onto a crate. No one sat. Daniel passed near Marta while guards watched another group. Without looking directly at her, he dropped something beside the water barrel. Her photograph. She bent to lift it. The corner was muddy but unbroken. He murmured so softly she almost missed it. Keep it hidden better. She stared. Why return it? His eyes stayed forward. Because not everything belongs to soldiers. Before she could answer, another guard approached. Daniel stepped away immediately. The afternoon brought barrack cleaning again. This time Hale inspected every room. One woman asked for water. He ignored her. Sophia leaned toward Marta while folding blankets. Never trust silence here. Marta kept her hands moving. Why? Because silence means someone is listening. A boot stopped behind them. Both women turned. Hale stood at the doorway. What did she ask? Marta answered first. She asked where the blankets go. Hale studied Sophia, then Marta. West Side Storage. He left. Sophia waited until his steps disappeared. You answered fast. He watches faces. He watches fear. Near evening the women were ordered outside again. Clouds darkened the camp. Daniel stood near the truck line as they carried empty buckets back. When Marta passed, he moved half a step closer. Do not stay near the western barracks after dark, he whispered. She slowed. Why? His jaw tightened. Just don't. A soldier shouted, keep moving. The truck returned them to the village before sunset. Elena waited by the fence. You are late. They counted us twice, Marta said. Did anyone speak? Too much and too little. Inside the house, Tomas leaned forward immediately. What is the camp like? Loud when men order, Marta said. Quiet when women think. He noticed the photograph in her hand. You took that with you? It slipped. Elena saw the muddy corner. Never carry memories where rifles stand. Darkness settled quickly. Curfew bells did not ring anymore. Soldiers had taken the church rope. Marta sat near the window. Far beyond the houses, the camp lanterns flickered weakly. Then a sharp sound cracked the night. One gunshot. The pause. Then another. Tomas rose. What was that? Elena closed the curtain instantly. No window. A third shot echoed from the west. Marta remembered Daniel's warning. Her stomach tightened. Somewhere beyond the dark road, a dog barked and then stopped. No voices followed. No explanation came. Only silence again, heavier now, as if the night itself had heard too much. Mrs. Hannah's voice drifted faintly from the neighboring wall. They killed someone. Nobody answered her. Marta held the photograph tightly until the paper bent beneath her fingers. Outside, boots crossed the road once more, slow and deliberate, like the village itself had become something being counted before morning again tonight. Rain touched the shutters before dawn. Marta woke when floorboards creaked near the kitchen. Tomas, she whispered. No answer came. She rose and found the trapdoor open. His blanket lay folded. Elena appeared behind her, already pale. Where is he? The back door moved slightly in the wind. Marta ran outside barefoot. The bicycle was gone. Only fresh tire marks crossed the wet yard toward the northern road. He would not leave without speaking, Elena said, though her voice already trembled with disbelief. Marta noticed paper missing from the shelf near Tomas's bed. A torn scrap remained. She picked it up. Only one unfinished line stayed visible. If Anton reaches the forest before daylight. Elena grabbed the scrap. What is that? He took a note. To whom? Marta did not answer quickly enough. Elena stepped back. He met Anton again. The engine noise came before either could speak further. A military jeep stopped outside. Captain Robert Hale stepped down first. Behind him came two soldiers. One pushed Tomas's bicycle forward. Blood stained the frame. Elena covered her mouth but no sound came yet. Hale stopped at the gate. Whose bicycle? No one answered. He looked directly at Marta. Answer. It belongs here, Marta said. To which person? My brother. Name. Tomas Levin. A soldier handed Hale folded paper. He opened it, glanced once, then folded it again. Where is he? Marta felt cold despite the rain. We do not know. Hale studied her face. He was found near the forest path. Elena stumbled against the doorway. Is he dead? No body, Hale said. Only this. He touched the blood on the handlebar with one gloved finger. Who gave him messages? No one, Marta answered. Who waits in those woods? No one we know. Hale stepped closer. Rain darkened his shoulders. Your brother carried a note toward armed men. He carried nothing, Marta said. The slap came suddenly from the soldier beside Hale. Her head turned sharply. Elena cried out. She told you nothing because she knows nothing. Hale ignored Elena. If he returns, he reports to camp immediately. He is 16, Elena whispered. He is old enough to carry messages. Marta tasted blood inside her mouth. Hale gave another order. Write his name among suspects. A soldier marked something in a notebook. Elena nearly fell when they turned away. Marta caught her. The bicycle remained in mud after the jeep left. Elena touched the blood and began shaking. He is alive, Marta said quickly. You do not know that. He is alive. You saw blood. I saw no body. Mrs. Hannah appeared near the fence. They wanted fear more than truth. Sophia arrived minutes later from the next house. They searched mine too, she said. Someone spoke of forest movement. Elena held Tomas's bicycle seat as if holding him. He left because he believed boys survive what men begin, Sophia said quietly. Marta looked at her. You knew. I knew he listened too much. Then why did nobody stop him? Sophia's face hardened. Because boys do not hear warnings until war answers louder. By afternoon, women were ordered again toward camp labor. Elena refused at first. I will not leave if he returns. A soldier raised his rifle. Marta took her mother's arm. If we resist now, they return harder. Inside the supply yard, work passed without speech. Daniel Reed stood near stacked crates. His eyes found Marta only once. At sunset, while guards loaded sacks nearby, he moved close enough to speak. He was taken alive. Her hands froze around the bucket. What? Your brother. Last night. Forest Road. Where? Daniel kept facing forward. Temporary prison camp near the eastern trees. Why tell this now? Because Hale thinks fear speaks faster than mercy. Is he hurt? I saw him walking. Walking. With soldiers. She searched his face for certainty. Why help? His jaw tightened. Because he looked younger than my brother. A whistle cut the moment apart. Before leaving, Daniel added one final whisper. Do not go there alone. Back in the village, Marta told Sophia behind the well. Sophia immediately shook her head. You walk into that camp, you disappear too. He is there. Then he is watched. He cannot survive alone. Neither can you if Hale sees your face near those fences. Elena heard enough to understand. No, she said at once. No child of mine walks toward rifles tonight. He is already there, Marta answered. Elena gripped her shoulders. Then morning comes first. Morning may move him somewhere worse. The room darkened slowly. No lamp felt bright enough. Marta unfolded the torn note completely. More words appeared where blood had dried. If Anton reaches the forest before daylight, tell them soldiers changed patrol near the river. Elena stared at the paper. He truly carried this. Yes. He wanted to matter. He still does. Curfew bells never came now, only distant boots replaced them. Marta tucked the letter beneath her dress. Elena saw the motion. You promised nothing reckless. I promised nothing. Sophia stood by the doorway. If you leave, use the old orchard path. Marta met her eyes. You said not alone. I said not recklessly. Outside, darkness gathered beyond the fence. Inside, Elena sat with Tomas's blood-stained bicycle wheel against her knees, whispering his name like prayer while Marta waited for the boots outside to pass and the village to breathe before moving toward the forest alone tonight. The orchard path ended at wire fencing. Marta crouched behind wet bushes, breathing carefully while lanterns moved between trees ahead. Beyond the fence stood wooden barracks, smaller than the supply camp, darker, built beside a broken stone wall. A shout came from her left. "Stop!" She ran 2 steps before soldiers caught her. Hands forced her down into mud. One rifle pressed against her shoulder. A guard dragged her through the gate while another searched her dress and found Tomas's unfinished letter. Inside the yard, Captain Robert Hale waited under lantern light. "So fear finally walks toward us," he said. Marta lifted her chin. "My brother is here. That was obvious before you arrived." He opened the letter slowly. Messages again. It was unfinished. Most dangerous things begin unfinished. He handed the paper to another soldier. "Put her inside. Labor detail first." A guard pushed her into the nearest barrack. Dust floated through weak yellow light. Prisoners sat along cracked walls, some wrapped in blankets, some barefoot. Then she saw Tomas. His face was bruised, one eye half swollen. He stood so quickly his chain rattled. "Marta!" A guard shoved him back. "What did you do?" she whispered. "I ran too slow." Relief nearly broke her voice. "You are alive. For now." A soldier pointed toward stacked buckets. "Water. For move." She worked beside prisoners who never asked names. Wood creaked overhead. Somewhere outside, a man screamed once, then stopped. Tomas spoke when guards turned away. "Mother knows. She knows enough to fear everything. I did not tell them names." "You knew names?" "I knew one path." He looked ashamed. "I thought Anton would be waiting." "No hero waits on wet roads," Marta said quietly. Before he answered, Hale entered. He looked at Tomas first. "Take him." 2 guards dragged Tomas into the next room. Marta stepped forward instantly. "No." A rifle blocked her chest. Hale motioned toward a chair. "Sit." She remained standing. He removed one glove slowly. "I can release him." The words struck harder than shouting. "At what cost?" she asked. "Names." "I know none." "You know Sofia Marcu. She carries water." "You know Anton. He repaired mills." A sound came from the next room, first a thud, then Tomas gasping. Marta's fingers tightened around the chair back. Hale watched her face. "One name stops pain." Another blow landed beyond the wall. Tomas cried out. She shut her eyes briefly but did not sit. "I have no names worth your paper." Hale leaned closer. "Everyone has names worth paper." "He is 16. He carried military routes. He carried fear." Another strike. This time Tomas shouted, "Do not tell him anything." Hale smiled faintly. "Loyalty sounds brave before bones disagree." He stood. "Continue labor." When he left, Marta nearly fell against the wall but forced herself upright. Hours later, another prisoner entered the barrack under guard. Sofia. Her lip bled, but her eyes stayed sharp. "You chose badly," Sofia said as guards moved away. "They caught me before the fence. They caught me near the supply shed." "What happened?" "Someone cut transport rope. Hale needed names and accepted mine." Marta glanced toward Tomas's room. "He offered release. He offers impossible bargains because impossible bargains leave guilt behind." A bucket appeared near Tomas's bars near evening. Daniel Reed placed it there without speaking. Water. Bread hidden beneath cloth. He did not look toward Marta. A guard nearby smoked and laughed with another soldier. Tomas whispered through swollen lips, "Who left that?" Marta saw Daniel already turning away. "A man who still remembers shame," she said. Night gathered inside the barrack. Prisoners lay against walls, chained in pairs. Wind entered through broken boards. Somewhere outside, boots crossed gravel in slow patterns. Tomas finally slept sitting upright. Sofia leaned close enough to whisper. "Hale enjoys choices nobody survives." "I saw that." "Then learn faster than fear." "What does that mean?" Sofia looked toward the far corner where 3 women sat together. They were railway workers before occupation. One of the women lifted her head. Gray hair. Thin hands. Another younger woman beside her whispered a name Marta barely heard. "Anika." Then another. "Lena." Then softly, "We still have 2 hidden pieces." Marta frowned. "Pieces of what?" The gray-haired woman answered without moving her eyes. "Enough to wake a wall." A guard coughed outside. Silence returned instantly. Later, when lanterns dimmed, Tomas woke again. "Did Mother cry?" he asked. "Yes. Tell her I tried. She already knows. I thought messages mattered." "They still do." He swallowed painfully. "Will they shoot us?" Marta looked toward the ceiling because truth had no gentle shape. "Not tonight." He accepted that answer because nothing kinder existed. From the far corner came another whisper between the women. "Before dawn." "Not yet." "Soon." Marta listened while dust drifted through weak light and understood that fear inside these walls had already begun changing shape into something dangerous enough to survive morning if courage held until then somehow. Morning arrived through cracks in the barrack wall. A guard kicked the door open. "Kitchen duty." 3 women. Sophia stood first. Marta followed. The gray-haired railway worker stepped beside them without speaking. Outside, frost clung to the ground. Smoke rose from a low kitchen shed near the fence. Inside, iron pots boiled above a brick stove. One soldier pointed at potatoes. "Peel. Fast." Marta worked beside Sophia while guards argued near the doorway. The gray-haired woman moved slowly toward the stove ash. Her fingers brushed beneath the iron edge, then withdrew. When a guard turned away, she nudged something with her shoe toward Marta. A half-burned folded paper. Marta bent as if reaching for dropped peel and slipped it beneath her apron. "What is it?" Sophia whispered. "Paper." "Then hide your face. Curiosity looks guilty." They kept peeling until the guards left briefly for water. Marta unfolded the paper under the table. Columns of times. Patrol routes. Storage notes. Western fence changes. Supply truck arrival. Sophia leaned closer. "Where?" "Under ash." The gray-haired woman finally spoke. "Letters survive fire better than people." "Who wrote it?" Marta asked. "No names." A guard returned. Paper vanished into Marta's sleeve. Back inside the barrack, Sophia waited until chains were checked again. Then she spoke low enough for only Marta to hear. "Those women worked railway explosives before occupation. The paper shows patrol times. It also shows where powder moves." Marta looked toward Tomas. "His bruises had darkened overnight. If they catch us, he dies first." Sophia's voice remained steady. "If we do nothing, he dies slower." Tomas watched them from the wall. "What are you whispering?" "Nothing useful yet," Marta answered. Near midday, the outer gate opened. Visitors. Prisoners lifted their heads immediately. A guard shouted names. "Elena Levin." Marta stood so fast her ankle chain scraped wood. Her mother appeared beyond the wire, carrying cloth wrapped around bread. Elena looked older than yesterday, as if one night had removed years from hope. "You are standing," Elena said, trying to smile. "So are you." A guard remained close enough to hear every word. Elena passed the bread through the fence. "For both of you." Tomas moved near the bars. "Mother." Her hand touched his bruised cheek through the wire before the guard pushed her back. "Who hit him?" she whispered. "No one worth remembering," Tomas said. Elena looked at Marta. Inside the breadcloth, something hard pressed against her palm. A pocket knife. Their father's old knife, worn smooth at the handle. Marta hid it instantly. "You should not bring this," she said. "I should have brought it sooner." The guard looked impatient. "1 minute." Elena stepped closer, voice dropping. "Fear kept people alive yesterday." Marta held her gaze. Elena finished softly, "Tomorrow needs something else." Then she stepped back before emotion could break her face. The visit ended too quickly. Tomas watched until she vanished beyond the gate. "She looked smaller," he whispered. "No," Marta said, closing her fingers around the knife. "Stronger." That night kitchen duty returned. This time Daniel Reed stood outside the shed. He spoke while pretending to inspect crates. "Hale moves prisoners before dawn." Marta kept stirring soup. "Where?" "North Transport Camp." How many? All who can walk. Sophia heard enough. When? Before sunrise. Daniel finally looked at Marta directly. If anything happens, it must happen before then. A guard approached. Daniel stepped away immediately. Back inside the barrack, Sophia gathered the 3 women from the far corner. The gray-haired worker drew lines in dust. Powder storage beneath western shed. 2 loose boards, whispered Anika. Fuse? Marta asked. Cloth and lamp oil, Lena answered. Tomas listened from the wall. You are planning fire. We are planning confusion, Sophia said. They will shoot everyone. They shoot people anyway. Marta opened the pocket knife and stared at the worn blade. Her father once sharpened farm tools with it near summer windows. Now the metal looked made for another purpose. Sophia watched her. You decide now. If I help, Tomas runs first. He runs when everyone runs. If he falls, then you lift him. Outside, boots crossed gravel. Inside, breathing slowed across chain bodies. Marta unfolded the burn schedule again under weak lantern light. Guard changes. West fence gap. Ammunition storage. Every line looked like a road that ended in death or survival, nothing between. Tomas whispered, You should say no. She looked at him. You carried a message because you believed timing matters. This is different. No, Marta said quietly. It is exactly the same, only heavier. Sophia waited. The women in the corner waited. Even the silence seemed to wait. Marta closed the knife and slid it beneath her sleeve. All right, she said. When? Sophia asked. Before dawn, Marta answered. The lantern flickered once. Outside, Hale's voice crossed the yard giving orders for morning transport. Inside, fear shifted again. Less helpless now, sharper, dangerous, almost alive enough to carry all of them toward whatever waited beyond sunrise if courage survived the dark. The early dawn mist clung to the yard. Marta lay on the wooden floor near the outer fence, arms folded beneath her head. Her face paled under the weak light filtering through cracks. Another complaint? A guard barked from the doorway. Stomach hurts, Marta whispered. She rolled slightly, groaning softly. The guard grunted. Rest then. But keep moving when told. He left without further comment. Beneath the ammunition shed, shadows stirred. Sophia crouched on knees soiled with dust, organizing women with precise gestures. Anika and Lena slid small cloth sacks filled with powder under loosened boards. Every movement quiet, calculated, as if silence itself was a weapon. Marta listened to guards pacing above. She moaned occasionally, letting her body seem weaker than it was. One soldier approached, raising a brow, then shook his head and moved on. Through the narrow drainage gap, Tomas worked carefully. His fingers scraped bolts from storage boards. Each twist caused sparks of tension Marta could feel in her chest. Be careful, she whispered through the opening. If anyone hears, then they die, Tomas answered. His voice held a courage Marta had not heard before. Footsteps approached. Marta froze. Daniel Reed appeared behind a stack of barrels, eyes scanning the yard. You're awake, he said quietly. I have to distract them, Marta replied. Daniel's gaze softened. If this starts, you must run before Hale sees you. Why do you help? She asked. His jaw tightened. Because I'm tired of watching people disappear. Marta studied him. No hesitation, no hint of orders, only the quiet weight of moral choice. Above, guards argued. One kicked a crate. Another cursed. Marta groaned again, clutching her stomach just as Daniel said softly, You look convincing. Beneath the shed, the women exchanged sacks, passing powder inch by inch. Dust rose in thin clouds, glinting in lanterns far above. Marta's stomach trembled with each shift of weight, each footstep on the boards overhead. Almost done, Sophia whispered. Keep the rhythm. Do not stop. Marta imagined Hale's face, calm and cruel, as if he could see through walls. She fought to keep her moans steady, steady enough to make him ignore her. Tomas slipped another bolt free. Marta, did father ever work like this? No, she whispered. He used tools to build, not survive. Then we're inventing something new. Sophia nodded without looking up. Courage is new every day, Marta. Today, it's beneath these boards. Daniel stepped closer again. You will leave before sunrise. Remember that. Yes, Marta replied, even though she knew Tomas could not move fast with swollen bruises. The rhythm of labor and pretense continued. Marta's moans covered shifting boards and sliding sacks. Every second felt stolen from death itself. She felt powder dust in her hair, grit beneath her nails, Tomas's breath warm through the gap. Every heartbeat measured survival. Sophia's quiet voice broke her thought. Almost finished. One more shift and it's done. Then everyone moves fast. Marta swallowed. And if Hale notices? Then you run anyway, Sophia said. Courage does not wait for certainty. The floorboards shifted as Tomas pushed the last sack into place. Marta pressed herself flat. Her stomach ached, but she breathed slowly to avoid panic. Daniel's eyes met hers for a brief second. No words passed. Only a silent understanding that timing, secrecy, and courage had to converge now, or everything would fail. Outside, boots shuffled closer. Marta moaned faintly, drawing attention while Tomas finished the last bolt. The women below whispered names, reassured each other in shadows. A crate above shifted. A soldier cursed. Marta groaned again, doubling over, clutching her side. Keep him busy, Sophia whispered toward her. Busy enough to die quietly, Marta replied. Daniel nodded once, disappearing toward the shed corner. Marta held her breath. Every sound carried, every second stolen, every motion counted. When the final sack was slid into place, Tomas exhaled softly. Marta opened her eyes slightly. The shed floor appeared undisturbed above. Done, Sophia whispered. Marta whispered back, then we survive. Each woman breathed through the night, aware that the morning would demand even more. Boots and lanterns passed above, unaware that beneath them, a small army of courage was already moving in secret. Time stretched, measured only by heartbeats, powder dust, and the silent rhythm of survival. The eastern sky darkened with faint pink before sunrise. Marta crouched beside Tomas, heart pounding against ribs as the first engines rumbled. Trucks lined the yard, ready to transport prisoners. She smelled oil and sweat, heavy with the anticipation of violence. Sophia gave a quick hand signal. Marta's stomach tightened. A faint spark ignited beneath the floorboards. The hidden line of powder flared silently, then erupted seconds later. The ammunition shed blew upward in a roaring wall of fire. Wood splintered, smoke swallowed the yard, and flames spread across the barracks. Shouts pierced the chaos. Soldiers screamed as debris scattered through smoke and dust. Run! Sophia shouted. Her voice cut through fire and smoke. Marta grabbed Tomas's arm. This way! Bullets struck wood around them, splintering the fence posts. Marta dragged him, stumbling, arms scraped and bruised. He coughed from smoke, eyes wide with fear, but his grip stayed firm on her hand. A guard appeared through the smoke, rifle raised. Marta pushed Tomas behind a fallen crate, picking up a discarded rifle from a collapsed guard. She aimed poorly, but the threat forced the soldier back. Hale emerged, face pale, eyes scanning for them. He raised his pistol and fired at prisoners fleeing toward the trees. Marta ducked as bullets ripped through a nearby fence. Stay down! Daniel's voice rang beside her. He fired at Hale's flank, drawing the captain's attention. A shot grazed Daniel's shoulder. He fell but blocked Hale long enough for Marta and Tomas to escape further into the forest. Flames consumed the trucks, turning them into rolling walls of fire. Smoke rose thick, carrying the metallic scent of burning ammunition. Screams and shouts echoed over the crackle of fire. Marta paused briefly behind a tree, catching her breath. Tomas leaned against her, coughing. They're coming, he whispered. I know, she said. Keep moving. Daniel groaned nearby, hand pressed to blood on his side. Hale's pistol fired again, ricocheting through trees. Marta knew he had survived despite the chaos. Sophia appeared, firing at guards near the perimeter. Her eyes were sharp, calm in fire. Other women joined, rifles in hand, striking like shadows against soldiers trapped by burning debris. Marta dragged Tomas through underbrush, branches tearing clothes and skin. The forest swallowed their movements, hiding them in dim morning light. Behind them, the camp burned completely, trucks and barracks reduced to flame and ash. Daniel shouted once, holding off soldiers who attempted to cut their escape. A shot hit his shoulder, but he kept firing, buying precious seconds. Marta's chest tightened with fear for him, yet she did not stop. Tomas stumbled, and she pulled him along, grit in her teeth, smoke in her lungs. A truck exploded behind them, hurling wood and metal into the yard. Screams, shouts, and gunfire filled every direction. Marta's hands shook as she aimed at a soldier approaching Tomas, but he fell into smoke before she needed to fire. "We can't stop," Marta hissed, dragging him deeper. Branches tore her hair, thorns cut her arms, but adrenaline carried them. Every step felt like borrowed life, every second stolen from death. From above, Hale cursed, scanning the forest edge. His desperation sharpened with every moment lost. "They'll run until they tire," he roared, firing blindly at shadows. Marta glanced back once. Flames had transformed the camp into a battlefield, the fire consuming everything. Soldiers lay among rubble, some moving, others already still. Smoke and chaos gave them cover, but danger remained alive behind every tree. "Keep going," Marta urged Tomas. He nodded, courage blooming despite pain. The forest thickened, hiding their escape. Marta's lungs burned, Tomas stumbled, and branches tore at their clothes, but each step carried them farther from the fire and toward survival. Behind them, Hale's voice faded with distance. Daniel's sacrifice stayed in her mind, every heartbeat echoing the cost. The first pale light of morning crept through the trees. Marta paused briefly, holding Tomas close. The camp behind them burned to ruin, the battlefield quieting only under the relentless roar of fire and smoke. "We made it this far," she whispered. Tomas leaned into her, shivering. "Yes," she replied, eyes scanning the forest ahead. "But the war isn't over." From the shadows, Sophia and the other women emerged, regrouping silently. Each face held determination, fear, and a spark of hardened courage. Marta understood fully, the women beneath the ammunition shed were now fighters, and nothing, not hail, not fire, not fear, would break them again. The morning sun climbed higher. The forest swallowed their path, carrying them away from destruction and toward an uncertain, dangerous freedom. Branches cracked under hurried steps. Marta pressed Tomas against a tree trunk, chest rising fast. Smoke from the burning camp lingered on the wind. The forest was alive with distant shouts and gunfire. "Stay low," Sophia commanded. Her voice carried across the clearing. Women ran beside her, rifles trembling in hands unaccustomed to firing, but determination hardened their grip. Tomas whispered, coughing. "They're coming." "I know," Marta said, scanning the shadows. Every tree, every broken wall, could conceal soldiers. She gripped the old pocket knife inside her sleeve, feeling the cold steel against her palm. A flash of uniform appeared beyond a fallen horse cart. Hale stepped forward, eyes like ice. "Marta Levin," he shouted. "Drop your weapon, and your brother lives." Tomas groaned beside her, bleeding from a shallow wound in his arm. "Don't trust him." Marta's jaw tightened. "I won't." Hale raised his pistol. Marta lunged toward the cart, knife ready, every step measured. "Move!" Sophia shouted from behind, firing a warning shot that rattled a nearby branch. Another woman aimed shakily, sending a bullet near Hale's foot. The sound of gunfire exploded in every direction. Resistance fighters emerged from the underbrush, rifles raised, bullets whistling past trees. Men and women who had hidden for months now fired with anger honed by oppression. Hale's men returned fire, ricocheting bullets through logs and leaves. Marta ducked behind the cart, Tomas clinging to her coat. Hale stepped closer, pistol leveled. "Give me the knife," he demanded. "Your brother lives if you surrender." "You've already taken enough," Marta whispered, feeling fear and rage mix inside her. Hale lunged forward. Marta jabbed upward with her father's knife. Metal met flesh. Hale screamed, stumbling back with a shocked look. The pistol clattered to the ground. Marta's hands trembled as she caught her breath. Tomas clutched her side. "Marta!" "Keep low," she said. From the clearing, Sophia moved past the last ridge of smoke, firing at soldiers covering Hale's retreat. A single shot rang too close. Sophia stumbled, collapsing beside a tree. Blood darkened her coat, but she turned her head toward Marta and smiled faintly. "Go, don't stop," she whispered. Marta gritted her teeth, dragging Tomas through underbrush and toward a small ridge where the resistance regrouped. Bullets whined overhead, tearing at leaves and bark. Hale roared in anger, chasing them through smoke and debris. Marta's breath came in short gasps. Tomas's hand was weak in hers, yet he followed, wounded but alive. Gunfire echoed from abandoned farm walls nearby. Resistance fighters pressed forward, using cover and surprise to push soldiers back. Shouts of defiance and pain filled the forest. Each rifle crack carried fury built over months of humiliation and fear. Marta glanced behind as Hale aimed his pistol again. Tomas screamed, stumbling. Marta threw herself in front, knife ready. Hale's grip faltered. He was already reeling from his wound. Around them, enemy trucks retreated down a dirt road. Smoke rose from overturned barrels and scattered supplies. Sophia's sacrifice had cleared the path. Tomas's eyes filled with terror and awe. You did it." Marta lowered her knife, chest heaving. "We did it," she corrected, voice shaking. The forest was alive with echoes of gunfire, smoke curling into the pale dawn. Sophia coughed, blood wetting her fingers. Marta ran to her. "You're going to be okay." Sophia shook her head slowly. "I saw them retreat. That's enough for me." Marta held her, tears blurring vision. Sophia smiled faintly, whispering, "Promise, keep them safe." Then she was still. Marta pressed Tomas closer, forcing herself forward. The forest opened before them, green shadows swallowing the path. Behind, enemy voices receded, replaced by groans, sobs, and the crackling of fire. Marta's hands were bloodied, lungs burning, mind numb. But Tomas clung to her, alive. The forest answered with gunfire, and they had survived, scarred, transformed, and ready for whatever came next. Sophia's sacrifice lingered in their hearts. Marta's father's knife remained in her grip, a symbol of courage forged in months of fear, fire, and unyielding determination. The forest held silence now, but only for a moment. Survival had a new weight, heavy with loss, yet sharpened by the brutal lessons of war. Marta looked down at Tomas, then toward the rising sun. "We keep moving," she said. He nodded. Together, they disappeared into the forest, carrying grief, courage, and the memory of those who gave everything for freedom. Morning arrived over the forest with a muted gray light. Smoke curled from smoldering barracks, twisted metal, and broken carts. The air tasted of gunpowder and ash. Marta crouched beside Tomas, whose hands trembled uncontrollably. His face was pale, eyes wide as silence replaced the chaos of night. "Are they all gone?" Tomas whispered. Marta shook her head. "Most," she said softly. Some never answered. They moved slowly through the wreckage. Bodies lay scattered, some covered with ash, others partially hidden beneath fallen wood. Marta forced herself to keep moving, holding Tomas's hand tightly. Daniel leaned against a tree, blood spreading across his uniform. He coughed, weak and trembling. Marta knelt beside him, pressing her hand to his wound. Will we see the village again?" Daniel asked, voice raspy. Marta glanced at him, swallowing hard. "Yes," she said, though doubt lingered in her throat. "The bells are still there, ringing in memory." Daniel smiled faintly, closing his eyes. "I wanted to hear them one last time." Tomas buried his face in Marta's side, shivering. Marta held him close, feeling his fear and exhaustion, understanding it mirrored her own. Elena appeared at the forest edge near noon, running toward them. Her face twisted in anguish at the sight of blood on Marta's hands. She fell to her knees, clutching her daughters and son. I I thought I lost you all, Elena sobbed. Marta embraced her mother tightly, feeling every tremor of pain and relief in her chest. We're alive, she whispered. Because we had to be. The forest was quiet except for the occasional crackle of burning debris. Birds returned hesitantly to broken branches. The survivors, ragged and covered in soot, gathered near overturned carts, counting names that would never answer again. Marta reached into her coat pocket and retrieved her father's photograph, edges curled and smoke-stained but intact. She held it close, fingers trembling over the image of a man who had once guided her steps and given her courage. Tomas peered at the photo. You would be proud, he whispered. Yes, Marta said softly, tears finally spilling. He would be proud of us. Her gaze moved through the survivors. Some wept, others sat in stunned silence. Then Marta saw the empty space where Sophia should have been. Her chest tightened. She sank to the ground, clutching the photograph like a lifeline. Sophia's sacrifice, the courage, the calm, the life given to ensure theirs, pressed on Marta's heart. She remembered Sophia's last smile, the whispered encouragement, keep them safe. Marta felt anger, sorrow, and a strange relief at having survived. Tomas leaned against her shoulder, his small hand clutching hers. Elena gently took Marta's face in her hands. It's over for now, she said, voice breaking. Marta nodded, though inside, war's echo still beat in her chest. She stood, holding the photograph higher. Smoke curled around her fingers, but the image of her father remained clear. Tomas spoke quietly, voice shaking. What now? Marta looked toward the horizon, gray light breaking through trees. We live. We remember. We fight again if we must. The forest was silent, but survival carried soundless weight. Marta folded her father's photograph carefully, holding it to her chest. She let herself finally cry, the grief of loss and relief of life mingling together. Around them, survivors rose slowly, helping one another. Dust and ash fell from hair and clothes, settling on the bloodied ground. Marta glanced back at the smoldering camp. The battlefield was silent, but memory would carry fire forever. She turned to Tomas and Elena. We go home now, she said, voice firm but soft. We honor those who stayed behind, and we remember every name. Hands clasped, they moved through the forest toward the distant village. Smoke and silence followed, but courage, grief, and hope traveled with them. Marta kept the photograph pressed to her heart, knowing that even in the darkest moments, memory and love could survive what fire and war had tried to destroy. The sun rose fully, and the forest seemed to breathe again, carrying the echoes of gunfire, sacrifice, and unbroken courage into the quiet morning.